Hi everybody, this is Michelle with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations, and I have a walkthrough for you that I am super excited about. This is my November design team project for Country Craft Creations using this gorgeous winter magic collection. I did do a haul video on all of the products that I used, and then as I go through the tutorial and this walkthrough, I'm going to show you the different little items that I pulled from my stash, my Country Craft Creations stash, to make this all come together. This is a great album. It's big. It is big, and I used quite a lot of paper. In my design team package, I received the baby blue cardstock, which I used for the base, and then I pulled a little bit of coffee brown felt paper. I think I used 4 sheets total of that. And then I did pull some scraps of some pearl sheen natural paper that I had in my stash. I had some little bits left over that was available at Country Craft Creations, and I'll double check. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it was a gorgeous paper, so I use that. Also, you can substitute, white or natural or, whatever color you want for that, but we'll get into that with the walkthrough. I had the 12 by 12 and the 8 by 8 paper pack, so I did combine the two. However, a little note of warning, I did use a lot of each of the packages. So you might want to get both sets of papers. I think you can make this with the 12 by 12 for sure with one of the paper collections, but again, I used both of them, and I used quite a little bit. So also in my package, I had the Honey Gold Tonic Studio metallic paper, so I used that throughout the album as well. So let's go ahead and get started, and we'll start off with the cover. I just love snowmen. They're so pretty, and I just had to use this snowman on my cover. And then I want to show you what I did, because this is not in the tutorial. I had an idea, and in the tutorial I talked about having a idea, and this is what I did. I had a leftover piece of snowman that I'll talk about in the tutorial. And what I did was I cut out the hat with the pom-pom, and then I cut out the scarf, and I bumped it up with some foam dots. And then what I did with the scarf, before I bumped it up with the foam dots, is I took some bits of the blue twine that I had, and let me see if you can see that. And I put it on the piece that I had cut out and put the fringe there. So we have that little bit of extra dimension, texture, if you will. So I did that, and then I put it down with the foam dots, so they're kind of dimensional. I hope you can see that. I also did use some of these Nuvo Crystal Glaze to make some drops. I did get this from Country Craft Creations a while ago, and I pulled that out, and I did use it on the snowman's eyes, on his little buttons, and then on the little fox's nose. And I did fussy cut this out of a piece of paper that was left over, and I bumped him up with foam dots as well. The snowflakes here, I want to show you that too. I went into my stash, and I had this cute little snowflake punch that I've had for a bazillion years, and it's a snow theme, so I wanted to use it, and I thought the little gold snowflakes would add another pop of color. And then the pearls came from my last design team package. I had some left over, so I pulled those out, and I used them throughout the album as well. These are the Fashion Taupe by Spellbinders, and I'll put a link down below so you can get that. This was in my October design team package, and I did use them, and I loved them, and the color is perfect. So I wanted to do that. On the cover, I used one of the cut-aparts from the 12 by 12 kit with a couple of the dots, and then I did just make a little simple banner out of a scrap of the gold, and I thought that was pretty for the cover. I'm going to show you the back cover here. That was the other side of the snowman paper, and I'm going to tell you how I cut this out and what I did with it, because there was a little bit of a process with that. And then I'm going to open it up in a second, and I'll show you the spine, because it's really big. This album is 7 by 9. It has a 3.5 inch spine to accommodate what I wanted to do, because I had a really cool idea. So I'm using the Crinkle ribbon for closure, and I used it for the closure course of the album, and then I also used it on the spine. So I just wrapped it around the spine pieces that I put down before I put it down and then tied a cute little bow. I thought that was a fun way to kind of add a little something something to the spine. And then I used one of the cut aparts from the 12 by 12 pack, and then more of the little flat back pearls here. The buttons on this particular snowman were actually more of a gold, so I thought that that was appropriate to do for those. So that's what I wanted to do. So that is my cover. And again, it's so pretty. You guys, I just love this album. Winter and Snowmen are, I mean, I just love it. So let me open this up the correct way. So that was the cover. And then we'll open it up. Now, I'm calling this a stacked configuration page album because of the way that I put the pages together. We will go through it step by step in the tutorial. But you guys are going to love it. It's really easy. And look at all of the different layers and different sizes. It kind of is, I just love how this turned out. It's a stacked page album, but it also incorporates my L hinges, and it also has kind of all of these different layers and dimensions that I think is really, really fun. We start off on the inside cover, and I did a gatefold pocket, and I did it in a different way that I don't think I've ever really done before. I don't know if anybody else has either, but I kind of had an aha moment, and we're going to be able to make the pages and the pockets all in one fell swoop. So that's kind of another configuration page idea. When I talk configuration pages, what that means is that I score the papers, and then with some strategic cutting and folding, I can make different kind of things. So we're going to use that throughout this album. We're also going to do some, you know, piecing of pockets and things like that, but we're going to go through this step by step. I've got a great tutorial for you. So the gatefold here, on this one, I have this 4x6 from the 12 by 12 pack, left it blank on the back for your photo, and then we're going to make a big 6x8 booklet. So again, this paper here is from the 8x8 pack. This is from the 12 by 12. Then I use the 12 by 12 papers here to have the scene on the inside, and then this is from the 12 by 12 pack as well. And then on the back, 12 by 12 here and here, and then I did make it so that you could tuck a picture behind that cute little sleeping fox. This is also from the 12 by 12 paper collection here as well, just to decorate, okay? The papers here are all from the 12 by 12, and it opens up here. This is 12 by 12 as well, and I did that so you can tuck a picture behind. And I really wanted to keep the deer in this photo. I love how that turned out. I just love how it turned out. Now again, you can do this definitely 12 by 12 for the covers and the sizes and stuff like that, because this is a 9-inch tall album. Most of the pages on the inside I used 8 by 8s, but you can definitely use 12 by 12s in here. All right, so when we get to this first part, there's two actual separate little pages that we're going to put together to make this cute little flap, and then this will repeat on the back. So this album kind of mirrors each other, okay? This one here, we'll open it up, and I'm going to move it down a little bit so you can see. So I use the 8 by 8s. I needed 4 squares of this to put on the gold, and so I used an 8 by 8 and cut it into 4 pieces. So like the mat here is 3 7/8 by 3 7/8, and then I cut the images at 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. So I used 1 piece of paper for that. And then I did the same thing with the rabbits, except for on the rabbits, I only did 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. I didn't mat it. I wanted to kind of, I don't know, keep it symmetrical, I guess you could say. So something fun to do. So I'll open one of these. All of these open up, and they open up into something that will look like this. Now I have a moose here, and then we have the photo mats. Now this is where I use that pearl sheen natural paper that I had left over. You can use plain white, natural, whatever color you think works, but I wanted to do some photo mats here. And then I did a photo mat here. And then that closes up. Now, like I said, the other ones do repeat themselves. So they all have the 2 white photo mats. Then you have this, then this turns over, and I did use seam binding and the gold ribbon that I got in my design team package. Now the ones that kind of start off with the bunny. Those do not have a medallion here because I ran out, but I thought that was a nice photo opportunity. But they all have the same inside piece here. I was trying to keep it, you know, kind of the same, kind of symmetrical, if you will. But these two pieces are done with 2 pieces of cardstock, and then it's just a matter of how we lay it down. And I want to show you, so you can see we have the different kind of layers of the mats here, and I just think that's really fun. I like that. Okay, so the first 2 there. Then this page here has a pocket in the front, and then I made some tags out of scraps. I just kind of went back to see what I had left over, and so I just used some tags. I did not talk about this in the tutorial, so let me give you dimensions here really quick. These are 3 by 6, and then I cut the pattern paper at 2 7/8 by 5 7/8, and then I used a 5/8 inch circle punch to punch the gold, and then I glued it down at the top of the tag, and then I just used my crocodile to punch right through that. Tied some of the twine through that, and that's how I created the tags. So we have 2 of those large tags, and this is a glued pocket as well, just so you know, and this is part of a configuration page, this piece here. And then I had this piece left over from the 12 by 12, so I just grabbed some scraps and I just made a simple tag out of that, and I used some of the ribbon from the closure here to put through there, and then tied it with a little piece of the gold ribbon that I had left over. And again, I did make a reinforcement with that. And the backs are all plain. Okay, so those tuck in there, and then this flips open. And then we have this cute little bear here, and I did it so you could tuck a picture underneath. So that's that front of that page. And then the back, we're going to piece a little bit together here, and we're going to make a magnet over a gusseted pocket. So we've got this cute cut apart from the 12 by 12 pack here, and these snowflakes right here are from the 8 by 8 pack. And so it opens up, again, another white photo mat, and then I used one of the 12 by 12 medallions here. Then on the inside here, we've got a gusseted pocket. So right now I just have the 1 card here for that cut apart. And then that can fit a lot more if you want to put that in there. So that's that page. The next page we have, which is the inner kind of page assembly, ties with a bow. I used one of the 4x4 cut aparts here and matted it with the gold. And then there was a border strip that had a bunch of words, and I used that snowman piece and then just used my punch. Now throughout this, I did use the corner punch, this one. I usually use this one, but I used this one instead. And I was really proud of myself because I didn't forget and punched the wrong one. So I think I get bonus points for that. But I did use that. Now you can use any corner rounder you want, but that's the one I did use. And then for the tags, I did use a tag punch. Okay. Let's see, what else was I going to show you? And then on the tag here, on this one, the rounded one, I used a regular round punch. So, you know, you can do, you know, whatever you want. You don't even have to do that. But this one here, I have that, and then it ties with a ribbon. And I did have, this is actually seam binding. I did have to add a little bit more from my stash. So I did use 4 pieces of white seam binding from Country Craft Creations that I added to this book. And they're all the seam binding pieces, and the ribbons and things are cut at 14 inches. So just FYI. Then that unties, and we have a photo mat here, and then we have a flap. Then inside this, we have a pocket. So on the front, I added pattern paper. This happens to be from the 8 by 8. And then I put the owl here. And then on the back, I used the 12 by 12 border strip, and there was a strip of the snowflakes. So I did adhere that so you can tuck a picture underneath that. And then I just, you know, use my corner punch, and there you go. So it got lots of room, lots and lots of room for pictures. And then that just closes up. So yeah, I did use quite a bit from each pack, and it was just, you know, because I had both packs, I wanted to use them. So the inside pages, I used a lot of the 8 by 8s, and for the bigger stuff, I used mostly like the 12 by 12s. Here I use the 12 by 12 because I wanted to use the snowman again and tie it into the cover. So I did the scene again, and on this one here, on the big page, on the 12 by 12 page, there were 2 or excuse me, there's a border of this plaid. And for this page, I talk about it on the cover on how I did it specifically. But on this page here, I cut the bottom off and then I trimmed my paper. And it has a little bit more of a border, but I really kind of wanted it to be more layout-like and stand out. So I cut the 12 by 12 after I trimmed off that border here at 7 1/4 by 6, so I could get both sides. So this is like one continuous piece of paper. So again, that's 6 wide by 7 1/4, and then the mat here in the coffee felt brown is 6 3/4 by, let me get it right here, 7 5/8. Okay. And then I did use for the middle here, I had a strip of gold that was kind of lying around, and I thought, well, that would be a really pretty middle section as well. So, and I notice how you see some of the different spines, some of the different gusset pieces that we put down. Those are added as we go, so I'll talk about that, but you get that, all the layers. I'm loving it. So here I did the Holly Jolly from the 12 by 12, and I added 3 of those little dots. And then here was one of the snowflake cut aparts from the 12 by 12, and I just matted it with some blue, or excuse me, with some brown and some gold. I just used my circle punches to punch that out. So yeah, I think this one was 1 3/4, 2, and then 2 1/4. And then I just did a dot of glue here and here. So you could tuck a picture under there if you wanted to, but I don't know why you'd want to cover up the snowman. So I don't know. I probably won't. I'll probably just leave it like that and not put pictures in. So that's how I did that. So then it starts to repeat. So it's going backwards now. So we have another one of the flat pages. This one I used the bunny cut apart. And that opens up another photo mat. I use the border piece that says winter here. And then open it up. Now this is the 8 by 8 papers. The deer are a little bit smaller here, you can tell. And then this is an 8 by 8 piece as well. This is the 12 by 12 cut apart that I put on there. And then on the back, the same snowflakes. So you just have to be careful when you put it in there so you don't kind of hang up on your tag, but there you go. And then that closes up. And again, the white seam binding I got from my Country Craft Creations stash. Ties like that. And then we have a pocket page again. This is the snowman cut apart, backed it with some brown, and then you open it up, and in here we have this cute little squirrel. I just love him. And again, you can tuck a picture behind. And then in this gusseted pocket, we have the cute little fox. Is he not adorable? On this nice little booklet. So you have lots of room to put photos on there, and then extra room for extra things too. So again, a magnet closure as well. And I did get the magnets from Country Craft Creations. So you'll need 2 of those if you want to do a magnet closure. So then we turn, we have another pocket. So in this glued pocket, and I'm going to show you also how to do this decorative edge as well. We'll talk about that in the video as well. And I used this, whoops, excuse me, I'm going to throw my stuff. I used this one from my stash. Thought I'd shake it up a little bit and use a different one. So that's the one I used. You can use any punch you want. And then what I did with the cut off pieces from like this page here and from the cover is I use those as the gusset pages. I had another idea for these, but that didn't actually pan out. So I talk about having an idea, and that one didn't work, but this one did. So I decided to use those little cut off strips on here. In this pocket, I had one of these left over from the 8 by 8 pack. So I just backed that with blue and brown. Again, made a reinforcement and then tied the ribbon around the crinkle ribbon there. So that's that tag. And then these two, again, are the same sizes. I just used different images that were left over from the cutting. Went back through. So then this opens up. We have the polar bears again. This is from the 8 by 8. Aren't they cute? You're so cute. And then this little deer from the 12 by 12. So I just really did mix and match. But again, if you only have the 12 by 12, I think you can do this with the 12 by 12. So then this opens up. I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to do it because I got to show you. All right. So then this one opens up. This is open. There you go. All of the centers are the same. And then we have the second layer. And, you know, I tried to be as symmetrical as I possibly could, but you can totally mix and match all of these things and do, you know, your own thing. So that opens up. I put the little deer here and then like that. Isn't this pretty? I just really love how this album turned out. It's a combination, like I said, of a stacked page and my L hinges. We've got configuration stuff going on. And you know, I got through this whole album. I didn't even make a waterfall this time, guys. I was just like going to town. Okay, so for this one, we had the cut apart, the 4x6 here on this one, but I wanted one for this one as well. So I had 2 more of these from the 8x8 pack. So I cut the paper the same at 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then I glued one on this side, and then I glued one on this side. So you have 2 smaller areas for photo mats here. We have this booklet, and again, I use the 8x8 here, but this is from the 12x12. Put a couple of the dots around that, the flat back pearls, and then this opens up. And again, these are the 12x12 papers. This is all in one continuous cut. And then a snowman here. And then on the back, I put the little bluebird. So then on the pocket here, I decorated with the snowflake. And these are 12x12 papers here. These are 12x12 papers here. And then we've got the Winter Magic. This came from the packaging on the 8x8 pack. I cut that piece out, and then I backed it with some of the blue that I had left over, some of the baby blue, and then put that there because I really wanted to use that phrase there. And that, you guys, is the end of my album walkthrough. This is so much fun. And if you look at it from the top, it is loaded and full. I did reinforce. I learned this from Tiffany. Let me see if I can kind of get that in frame for you. Just recently, Tiffany talked about reinforcing some gussets, and this one really needed it. So I did on the 1/4 inch gussets that I have, and these are from the flaps for my accordion pockets. I did reinforce them with some of the gold here on the outside. So I just cut it, the gussets are 1/4 inch, so I cut it at like a 1/16 inch less than a 1/4 inch. It is fiddly, I know. On the outside for the gold, and then I did do a little strip of blue on the inside. I thought it really did need it. It was starting to, as I was trying to decorate, it was starting to kind of get squished. So I did reinforce those, but then look at it from the top. Isn't that pretty? It adds another pop of color as you're looking at it, and I just love how this turned out. So you guys, let me know what you think. I know this was an awful long walkthrough, but there was a lot of information in it, and I wanted to make sure that you got it. And I explained some things that I did not explain in the tutorial. So I'm going to be working on editing my tutorial. So I will have the tutorial out in the next day or so. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think. And I will be back soon with more fun things. So stay crafty and have a great day. Bye-bye.